So it's about our stocks analysis software, which is mainly built around Excel 365 for Office 365. So if you use Microsoft Excel and you have subscription of Office 365, the latest Office version, then this software is for you. If you like the spreadsheet and analysis, and we have a proprietary trend recognition chart. So this particular session is normally I have a session for my customers that are interested colleagues once in a month. So in April, we did not have a session. That's why we are having this session. And instead of going through the details of the software, we will very quickly go to the TR recognition chart itself and some of the new features that we have built in. And those features will be available to all our existing customers who bought the software during last 1 year without any charge, free updates to them. And going forward, it will be available as part of the software itself. So let's first start with the disclaimer. The material presented here is for educational and learning purposes only and should not be taken as a purchase or sell recommendations. Trading, investing in stocks and derivatives, especially futures and options, is risky and could result in a substantial loss of invested capital. I am not a registered financial advisor with FINRA or SEC, and for any financial advice, particular to your own financial background and financial conditions, please consult a registered financial advisor. So what is the software itself? Very quickly, for those people who are attending it for the first time or who had not used the software, is it's basically an Excel worksheet, and you're using the Excel stocks feature to analyze the stocks going forward. And for example, this particular stock is DRI, Darden Restaurants. Every weekend, I go through a number of stocks through different screens which pop up on my computer, and I analyze those stocks and then choose only one of two or three only, because the more you choose, more confused you will get, and you will not be able to manage your money very quickly, very easily. And then I'm just going to explain the software, how it really works, and then we quickly jump to our indicator itself. So that's how the software looks like. And let me just go to the Excel worksheet. So this worksheet, that's the software itself. And the for example, if you want to analyze any ticker symbol, this one is Z is scalar, and this is one of the software which was one of the software company, and the company which has been picked up by me for my recent weekly commentary, which will be posted today. In fact, it has already been posted on my website. The website address is over there. So the software is Zscaler. It's a cloud security company. It's in the tech sector. Although the tech sector is not hot, but we think that the tech sector itself is going to be now rebounding, and it is the market itself has probably found a bottom in the short term. Obviously, market is volatile, as we can see from the VIX. It's 24.84, but we know that the VIX is steadily coming down from high 30s and 40s to 24, and we would like to see it coming down below 17 and 16 to be much more confident in going forward in the near future. So when you put a ticker symbol, just the software pull ups all the relevant data which is available through Excel. Not everything is available. For example, the financial data is not very much available. And for financial data, we have some research links here like investing.com and others, IBD and others here. And the customer can go directly to Yahoo, Zax, and this for this particular ticker symbol and get some financial data if it is not available here. And we have different sections. This section right over here is about the markets. When I'm hovering my mouse, about how did the Nasdaq perform, how did the small caps index Russell 2000 perform, gold, how did it perform last week and last day. And we have different graphs here for the software and different sorry, for the ticker symbol and its indicator like volume, average volume, relative strength, different technical indicators like these are my favorites: percent price oscillator PPO and percent momentum oscillator, price momentum oscillator PMO, accumulation distribution, and a relative strength chart. For example, we want to see how the ZS is performing against the broader market, which is represented by SPY over a period of last 3 years, because we have chosen 3 years right here. So we can select any time frame between 1 month to five years here. You can see the performance of the of the company itself. So ZS has been a good performer over the last 5 years, 206% right here. But for 3 years, it has been kind of struggling. Last 15 days, it has given a return of 12.16 here, beating the market because the market was just 2.6% up in last 15 days, 2 weeks. So we will go in depth and see how the different technical indicators and the TR indicator, our own indicator, is providing us further information. Some fundamentals about its market cap. It's a $33 billion company. How volatile is this? Slightly volatile is 1.14. If it is one, that means that it is at par with market. If it is greater than one, the beta, then it's slightly volatile than the market itself. Then there are different technical indicators. People who work on stocks and analysis, they know. So I'm not going into details of all these technical indicators. So for that, we already have different sessions, and a lot of material is available online and in different technical indicators book as well. Then suggested profit and stop loss targets and where the key moving averages are. So for example, the 20 period EMA on the weekly basis, because the weekly chart is chosen, and is 198.73, and we are already at 2.15 at 215. So that weekly 20 period EMA is 8% below the current price. This is what it is telling us. And if we go there, how much is the suggested target for the 15% and 10% profit and 20% profit? How much should be? 77% bias. TR indicator is still neutral buy. And then for daily day traders, is also provide you support resistance based on the pivot point and other different. There are 2 or 3 different pivot point methods: classic, Camarilla, and Fibonacci. And so we can just put the symbol here, press the update, and the software will update this particular sheet for and provide all this information right here on your worksheet. Not only this, we also look whenever we select a software, it's seasonality. So for example, last 5 years, we compare ZS, which is Z scalar, with the S&P 500, and we see that June has been an exceptionally good month historically for ZS, and its return was 8.37% above than the S&P itself. In May was also good, but for the last 5 years, 10 out of 10 times or 100% of the times, ZS beat the SPY and close above than the opening price of the month. Similarly, in the May, traditionally is a good month for ZS. 60% of the time, ZS has performed better, opening low and closing high during the month of May, while beating the S&P return for 13%. And we can see that till the month of May, June, July, and August, generally ZS has performed better, beating the overall broader market. So the history is on our side if we take a long, because May is just going to start within a few days. But before that, we also take a look at when is this going to be its earning. I think its earning is not very far away, or maybe we will take a look when its earning is due. Besides this main user interface worksheet, we have another worksheet which is known as stock table info. And what is going on here, that we can maintain as many watch lists and lists which we want. So you see there are 486 different rows, but there are several worksheets. So this one, for example, my weekly list for which I've been working on this weekend, 425. The week closing on 425, and these are the stock which have came up in my different screeners and screens. So ZS earning was on March 5th. Thank you very much, Ali. This means the next earning is going to be April, May, June, around June. So we still have 1 month. And we can maintain different watch list here, different list here, and then we can, going through each of them, is press this button, is going to update this on all these different columns like last change, percentage change, volume, 5-day performance, 15 days and 2 week performance, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 year, and a small mini chart showing you how over a period of last, whatever the time frame was chosen, it was 6 months. So how much is this, how the stock has performed, and it mostly is light green or green, most of these stocks. And ZS is right here among one here. And as we can see, is 5 years return was 205%. Similarly, there are other stocks like BY, DDY, GEV, Charles Schwab, Boston Scientific Group, Tesla itself. I wanted to actually evaluate Tesla as well, and DRI, Darden Restaurant. There's so many others as well. Now we can quickly, for example, if we want BY, DDY, we can just press this button, transfer stock, and it's going to update this first worksheet with all these details for that particular stock. So we can quickly do that. In addition to that, I can also transfer all of these as a list. If I press transfer list, so it will update this list here. And one by one, I can go, for example, this Mali. Mali is, for those of you who don't know, is an Paraguay base. It's known as Latin America based Amazon. Now it's updating this entire worksheet, calculating the technical indicator, seasonality chart, and TR indicator for Mali. So sometimes it takes a while depending upon how much the load servers have. And it's developing the TR indicator and it's done. Now this particular worksheet has been updated for Mali. And as you can see, Mali has been a consistent outperformer. While the S&P is down for, or the technical sector is down for 9.48%, but Mali in the same period was down, up by 8.72%. So that has been a good performance throughout last 5 years. And what does it TR chart says? TR chart says this is a neutral buy, but actually it's just started a green zone, so it's going to be strong buy very soon. Now we need to now the new features of this particular chart. I will come to that in a while. That it adds buy zones as well, buy and sell zones, and it also tells us that whether the stock is showing a high relative strength or not against the broader market, and whether it has been accumulated or distributed by the Wall Street. What does it mean? If we go there down and take a look at these two charts indicators here. So one is accumulation distribution. What is this telling us? It's telling us for the period of last 3 years, it is constantly been increased. It means that Wall Street has been constantly accumulating the shares of this particular company. Sometime it comes down. Now, how does it calculate? There's a formula to it, and it tells us that how much Wall Street is selling and how much they are buying. So it has been on a continuous rise. That's a secondary indicator. Down there, we have a ratio of Mali versus SPY, and this is telling us this is continuously again an uptrend, that it is showing a high relative strength compared to S&P. For example, if the price ratio between these two was 1.73 3 years ago, now it's 3.73. So in other words, compared to the 500 stocks in S&P 500, Meli I think is not a part of S&P 500 because it's a Latin America company, although it's traded here in New York Stock Exchange, actually NASDAQ Stock Exchange. But it has been a consistent performer. And the TR chart itself, now it will calculate, and based on that, it will give us indication that it is a strong performer, it has been accumulated or distributed, or it is not, or it has a showing a strong relative strength. Now we have to, so that's how we evaluate these stocks. For example, last 5 stocks, starting from this week's, this is the last Excel worksheet I showed to you here. This thing, BSX, all the way from BSX to Google, and here we have it from here, BSX to Google, and you can see both on the daily. This is the daily column, and this is the weekly column. Now these are mostly in the strong buy trend recognition and strong buy zones, and we have different uh, symbols here, like this up arrow and this check mark and this asterisk. So this is telling us that this is strong. For example, let's we were looking at Meli. So Meli is still is in the neutral buy, but for on the daily chart, it has shown a strong buy signal. But for most purposes, like this, see this sprout as this is on a weekly is a strong buy, and the check mark means it is within the 5% of our buy range, whatever buy range we have decided. An asterisk means that it has shown high relative strength as well as high accumulation distribution. So going back to our presentation, if I just can jump ahead and show you this particular slide, this is the legend. So if the TR chart is showing you this thing, strong buy, up arrow means it has just started very recently, the strong buy zone. Asterisk means that it is within 5% of our buy point range. And sorry, the check mark means, and the asterisk means the strong relative strength and or strong accumulation distribution. Now we have the choice whether we want to include the strong AD line accumulation distribution, or we want to do this use the strong relative strength or not at all, or we want to instead of 5% of buy point, we want to increase the range or decrease the range maybe to 3% or 2% or 1%, whatever. So flexibility is there. So in order to do that, what we need to do, for example, we are going to evaluate this SFM, I think this is what we mentioned, Sprout, and we want to see its weekly TR chart. So you can go directly over here and ask it to develop the buy point and show it to us. So here are the buy points. Now, historically, if you see, whenever it gave a strong buy signal here, 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 it has always been rising. So this particular indicator and this system is working very well when it comes to Sprout, because different stocks have different behavior, different companies, and they perform differently. Some are just no-goer. They just consolidate, they just don't go anywhere. Some are growth stocks, like this is Sprouts and others. And there this system works very well. Now look at this TR status here, it says strong buy. So we are in this green zone. Asterisk means that we are very close to within 5% of this buy point, which is shown by this dashed line. And sorry, the check mark. And asterisk means that it is shown, it has a strong relative index, relative strength compared to our S&P 500, as well as it also has strong AD. It has been accumulated by Wall Street compared to who is accumulating it? Market makers or the fund managers. Not only this, below this table, it provides you the history of all the price, buy point, stop losses. So the latest buy point was established on 7th of April. The price was 152.27 at that time. The buy point was 173 and the stop loss was 145. These are the suggestions made by the software itself. How does it do that? I will explain it in a while. So this was the buy point, 172 something. And then we have this is a 157.27 price point, and this is the stop loss. So this is stop loss. Now we have two moving averages here. For the weekly, it's a set of 10 weeks moving average, which is shown by this blue line, dotted blue line, and 30 weeks moving average, which is this. This is our line in sand. If a stock drops below this 30-week line or 200-day line in terms of daily, then we will get out of the position immediately. This means that stock is weak now and it can go further below. Now, in order to, different people have different level of understanding. If you want to play with this, so here is the settings for this. For example, I want my buy point range, not just 5%, I want to make it 10%. I can go and change it here. Now I'm working on a very tight stop loss of 7%. For many people, 7% is too small or narrow a range, and they would like to work with 10 or 12%. You want to practice with that, you can change it to 10% or 12% or maybe 50%, is up to you. But our suggestion is this should not be more than 8 to 10% in any case. So let's make it 8%. Then we are also working this, include the stocks with high relative strength if above the buy point. Include the stocks with high relative strength and below the buy point, and use accumulation distribution line with RS for signal, and then we can save it. So it will change whenever we update it. It will look at those parameters and change this accordingly. Change the buy point, stop loss signs, and then see if it is within that prescribed range, and then it is below this stop loss limit or not, whatever. According to the settings, we just select it here, like we change it from 7 to 8%. Not only this, we can also run a back test here. And what backtest does, that backtest take this strategy, what were the settings you have made here, and let's assume a base capital of only $1. And then we say, okay, if our profit comes to 15%, then take the 15% of the position out, or maybe 30%, or maybe 1/3 of the position out, 33%, and save it. And when you run the backtest will start from the beginning of the chart, move around, look at these buy points, compare it with these parameters, and then evaluate, okay, now we have got the buy point, we are in a strong signal, all the conditions are met. Let us start with $1 and see if we follow this strategy, then toward the end of the period, which is obviously yes, last Friday, how much the result will become. It will just automate the strategy based on this, which we do not recommend. But anyway, let's run the back test here. So when we run the back test, it's going to do this, starting from the very first. It will create the recreate the chart itself. It's done, and then it will display the results at the bottom. Here are the results of back test. So following this strategy, and we are only for the time being selecting the long strategy. Going forward, we'll have the short strategy as well. So we are not shorting any stocks. But if we are in a down market, we can just switch from long to short as well and see how the strategy work. So it give us, okay, during the last 3 years, it had only 6 signals. These were the entry prices, these were the closing prices. So you enter at this date, you close at this date. This was the closing price, this was the number of days in that particular trade, this was your gain or loss. Now here we added in a loss. Why? Because you see, first we went here and then we touched this line, and probably we close it below this line. And this was our slow moving average with 30-week average, and we have made a setting here, and we got out at a slight loss. Now, if you want to change that moving average, we can do it right here. Instead of 30-week, we can have 50-week. Instead of 200 days, we can have 100 days. So it gives you a tool so that you can adjust all these moving averages, all these settings, and then run that back test, and then see yourself how your strategy is working out. Now, this particular one, this was a great winner. It went all the way from something around 43 to all the way to here, 120. Let's go to the results of our back test again. So we had 357% still the open gain in that particular. But before that, we took, you remember we had the partial profit at 1/3 of position. So we took a partial profit at 16.53%. And the remaining position, we are just letting it go. So $1 invested 3 years ago has become $5.3. In other words, 430% return. Just following this particular TR buy point strategy. And we can change the setting. As I said, if we want to run it on the daily basis, we said, okay, weekly. So it's a very long-term strategy, only 5 or 6 buy points. How many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 buy points. And we are not going to wait for just 7 entries in 3 years. So let's run it for the daily and do it for the 1 year and run it for the daily. And remember, we have different settings for the daily. For daily, we have 200-day moving average and 50-day moving average. Okay, so it will change those EML lines and then update it. And then we will run the back test. Actually, I could have run the back test directly. Now, this is a very heavy program, so it takes a while to develop this TR indicators, calculate these buy points, adding those line signals. It's done. And here are the at the bottom during this we took only 1 year last time, remember? We just selected 1 year. So starting from 18th of June last year, these are the 6 buy signal this strategy has generated, the TR signal itself. Now we want to see what are their results. And this is 50-day and 200-day EMA line. The lines have changed according to the settings. So let's run the back test on this strategy. And now we are investing $1 1 year ago and just following these buy points, the buy signals and the stop loss signals, and see how it comes. So it's done. Let's go back and see only back testing, only two signals were chosen. And still $1 invested 1 year ago following a daily strategy came up with 2.97, I mean 197%. And it is still open. Why it is still open, I will explain in a minute. So the open position, we had 156% gain, and we took the partial profit at 15%. So at that point, it was 15.74%. So only one signal on this particular stock, which was SFM. Now, why was only, there were so many buy signals. So why only one? Because once we are in a trade and we have not closed that trade, and it finds another buy signal, and we are still in that trade, so we're not going to add up. That's just a strategy we have. We can, in future, we can modify it. So every time you run across a buy point, you can add to your position. That's not the backtest worker. It just says, okay, you're already in a trade, so we're not going to enter in a new trade unless we are out of that trade. So that's why only one trade which was taken right here, we are still maintaining it. Why? Because our stop loss has been trailing upwards. And not even once we have come down to test this red line, which is 200 line. So we were not out of the position itself. So we are still in that position. And that strategy has paid off. That $1 invested 1 year ago, following a day strategy on a daily weekly chart for TR, has returned in 197, and still it is going strong. So that's how our system helps the traders or investors to look into the detail, understand this strategy. For example, I just run it in the morning, and we have 200 stocks listed here. These are the stocks normally I've been monitoring almost every stock with you, and I can very quickly go over there. For example, someone would like to, can you just mention in the chat any stock? Maybe let's say we want to go to the AMD and see what are the STR signals. So we can just go right here on the menu, search a stock, and AMD signal is, I think, XNAS. AMD. Okay, let's see ACN. If it is there in the list, I don't know. It's not there in the list, so we have to run it for ACN. So I just pressed by accidentally the TR screener. So it will wait for a while it updates this chart. It's almost done. It's adding the buy signal. We are done with the same chart again. So let's start with searching stock and go to the BSX, Boston Scientific. And it just takes us to the BSX, and the BSX, it just run it. So it was neutral buy on the daily chart, but it's strong buy, just started with a high relative strength, and high accumulation distribution indicator, and within 5% of our buy range. And it just did that. So now using the Excel feature, okay, there are 200 stocks. It's too many for us, right? We want to see, okay, just screen how many of these have gone and shown in a strong buy with strong relative strength. Just sort it out. Go to this formula, data, sorry, data, and sort it. And it's just sorted out with this daily tier. So these are all the neutral buys. So the strong buy will be down somewhere right here. Strong buy just started, and with the relative strength and the chicken accumulation distribution. And I could not find anyone with a strong RS on the daily chart, but I could find many on the weekly chart. So let's do it here. So these are the stocks, for example, starting from here. GE, Boston Scientific, SAP, Spot, GEV, Stride, LRN is the symbol for Stride, Copar, and TGX, AGX. These are stocks, and DRS and SFM. These are the stocks which are showing. Now, why they're not together? Because they are missing this up arrow. Up arrow means that this signal just started during the last trading period. So SFM, as we saw it, is strong buy. We just run the back test here. And strong buy with high relative strength and high accumulation distribution as well. So in other words, this particular tool can help you in analyzing a stock trend, see if it is within in a strong TR indicator. What for example, let me explain what does really TR indicator does. It has three stages. First stage is this small triangle. It says that it's sensing that there is a change in the trend. It might be starting. This is known as first stage, and this is known as neutral buy zone. A long trend, uptrend. Then there is small light green shade here, which very quickly turn into the strong green. This is the dark green, the strong green, and this. How do we calculate this buy and SL? The software goes and look at the previous buy points. It has a strategy of going backward and see where are the buy points for this particular stock. And for this recently, it highlighted this is the buy point. Then it calculates stop loss for that particular buy point. Remember, we have different parameters like 7 or 8% or previous low. So it set it over here. Or if it is very close to this particular, the slow moving average line, which is in this case, it's 200-day line, it should be here. Now upside, there is no target, but we have set the first partial profit at 15%. Some people are not comfortable with 15%. They would like to take it the first profit at 30%, 20%. Our recommendation is first you should have some profit at 15%, and you should take out 1/3 of your position and leave the 2/3 to run. So that's exactly what it did. Now this is a different. This is not. This is still SFM. I think I have a request to run it for ACN. So let's see, Russell, run it for ACN. I'm sorry, ACN. And let's see how it performed during the last 1 year. So it's now calculating all these things, buy points and the TR indicator. And that's why it's a very heavy kind of calculation, and it's done. But ACN is, as you can see, is in a strong downward trend. Although there are some indication that it might have bottom and is starting, but it is in a neutral buy, and this down arrow means that a neutral buy has just started during the last period. It means last day. In other words, according to the TR indicator, ACN is not a stock to go for. And if we want, we can switch to the weekly time frame and take a look, but it will be pretty much the same because it has been in a downtrend for a while. You see, it is still in a strong sell zone. This is what it's saying, strong sell zone, and it's still in a downtrend. So the software or our strategy will not recommend to go forward with. Now, what if I run a back test? The back test will result in a negative value for the last one. Why? Because if it chooses this buy point, and very quickly within a matter of 2 3 excuse me weeks, the stock suddenly dropped now with the overall market. So it will probably give you a negative return. So run the back test here and see how the stocks perform on ACN. For how much period? Only 1 year, because we have chosen the duration for 1 year right here. Some reason it's not calculating. I think the 1 year period is too low for that. Maybe we need to increase, because 1 year in one week, sorry, on a weekly chart is not an enough period. I will look into it. Anyway, if you run it on the daily chart, probably there is not an issue because there will be more data points. So it's done. And let's run the back test if it runs or it gives you the same error. Okay, so let's see the backtest result for that ACN for 1 year. And its return is only 7.19%. Now, what it does actually, because as soon as the stop loss was hit, it took you out of the position. So you had some gain starting from this buy point, but from the rest of the buy point, it never approached those buy point. It never approached those buy point, and that it came down. So so it never had an entry over here, over here, over here, over here. It had an entry here, but it closed at its stop loss here. So that's why there is one negative entry in this back test, which is down here, -1 point, and then some positive, and it closed at just 7 point. Because as soon as you hit that 15% threshold, it increases your stop loss. So the stop loss will no longer be at this position. It will be trailing the price itself, so that it makes sure if you have 15% of gain, stock should never give you a loss in that position. That's how it works. So following this particular strategy even save you from these losses. Although stock has retreated strongly, but $1 invested in this stock following this strategy still give you 8% return. Now, question was whether it works with the crypto coin and new IPOs. New IPOs, if they have a valid ticker symbol, which is given to them, then it will be available to the Excel stock database, and it will be definitely it work with that. Problem is that you don't have enough data for 1 year or 6 months or 1 year or 3 years for model to work for new IPOs. So for example, if an IPO just starts here and you're here, it will probably won't give you any signal for that. For the crypto coin, yes, not with the crypto directly, but if you have something which is in a stock like an ETF, which tracks that particular crypto, for example, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is interesting. We have a GBTC, an ETF of Bitcoin. And I just saw, let's see, 3 years or maybe 5 years, this weekly. We are now going to see how this model or this system works on Bitcoin. So GBTC is as good as Bitcoin. And we are going to plot the chart for the Bitcoins. And you see, for the weekly chart, most of the time when you see this strong green signal, means the buy point, you normally have a long run. For example, this it never made up to this point buy point. It never made up to this buy point, so you will not have an entry. But what if you have an entry here? It never came down below your stop loss, so it gave you quite a bit of strong run. And again, as you can see right now, is just below this buy point, and it is see the legend here. It's a strong buy area. It's strong green. It has just started the up arrow, and this check mark means that it is within 5% of this buy point. So it could, if you are an aggressive investor, it can fail obviously along with the Bitcoin market, but chances are there the strong uptrend is starting in Bitcoin based on this weekly chart. Another question was check Snap, how we can do that, no problem. So this maybe Snap is here. Let's see. See if Snap has already been evaluated. No, it's not. So let's see if Snap is working. Snap is comparatively, I think, a new IPO. Maybe last 3 years or 4 years. I don't remember. 2018 or 17, sometime there. So let's see how Snap works. Again, Snap is in a strong, from strong has just come out. It's a neutral sell. It's no longer in a buy zone. So are you going to buy it? No, I won't, because I'm more kind of a conservative investor, and I normally look for a strong uptrend, because chances are better when you are in this green zone and you're just at this buy point, that you will have at least 15% or 10% of gain. And once you are 15%, you have 15% of gain, never allow the stock to go back and give you losses. On the other hand, when we can tune this strategy to work with shorting, so this has been a great short for this particular stock, because it will just work the other way around. If it goes up here, that will be your entry point for the short, and then it will come down. But obviously, we are not into the shorting business, so that's why we don't short the stocks. So I hope that you would like it. It's almost over 45 minutes to that. And there's a lot of programming and a lot of efforts have been gone behind this thing, because you have to tailor your strategy. You have to give the flexibility of choosing different moving averages. If you are a technical trader, you would like to experience the strategy with different moving averages, maybe 100-day, maybe 10 weekly average for there are two moving averages. And then you can probably increase your stop loss. You can also increase your buy point range. It gives you a signal if it is within 5%. You can increase your base capital to see how it works, $100,000 instead of just $1. But it's just for example, we're testing with $1 only. And then we can also move your partial profit and partial position. Now, question, how about AI tech? Can we use in our favor using this model? Definitely you can use this. This model is not using the AI technology itself. It is programmed in the Excels. But going for, we are working on that. So maybe a Python version of it, and then do some machine learning model and add those to this thing. Any further question before I jump to the presentation again? Actually, I'm mostly done with this. I was planning of like ZS, I discussed this, GBTC, I discussed this. We can discuss any of this stuff. We can discuss, we discuss many like Snap and SFM, BYD. Those BYD is one of my pick recently for, yeah, just for this week. Now, yeah, BYD, you want to see BYD DY? It's already there in my list. I've already done that. To save time, I can just quickly check where is BYD DY is right here. So BYD DY, is strong buy both in daily as well as in weekly. And as you can see, BYD DY is in one of my lists here. And BYD is a very interesting stock. I believe it's worldwide basis is going to replace Tesla. It has already replaced Tesla. It has surpassed Tesla in number of vehicles, and not only the number of vehicles, the revenue as well. So it is ahead of Tesla in many things. And it's not marketing its products in America, so it's already safe from this tariff war because it's a leader in China. So we are working with this while it's updating the weekly chart. It's done that. And look at this performance. In 1 year, it has given 100% return. 15 days, 9%. 3 years, 82%. 5 years, BYDDY is not a 5-year-old company. Meanwhile, during last 6 months, S&P was almost 5% down. So it's way ahead of the S&P. That's why its RSI, relative strength, compared to S&P 500 should be very high. Right here. Here we go. You see, this is what it's telling. That starting from the 25th of January this year, it's on a continuous rise. And it has been accumulated by the market itself. This is a secondary indicator which we look at. And what about its TR chart? TR chart should have been updated automatically when we work through that. This is TR chart on the weekly. For if you want to update the buy zone, you have to press this button. and it's already almost at the high level. It's almost breaking out. So we have BYDDY. All this is aggressive. Chinese stocks are always volatile and aggressive. But over the long run, I think it's in a good position and good shape. You want to see its buy point? When was the last buy point? Press it. It will calculate the buy points, plot the chart again, give you the results. For 3 years, that's what the last buy points here. You want to run the strategy and run the back test and see how the strategy performed over 3 years. Run the back test and let's see how the for the result we need to go scroll down towards the bottom of the list. This is the batch. So in 3 years, it has given us 56% return, starting from $1. The $1 would have become $1.56, and the current position, latest position, is still open. It's not closed yet. Why? Because it is in a still strong green position, and we have already taken out 20% as our first profit, and 47% is on that particular position. And that position was initiated on the 21st of January. So BYDDY, although the market was, dropping like a rock in the correction territory, 20% and above, but BYDDY, the same period, has almost given us something like 47% return. And we want to be in those kind of stocks instead of wasting our time in those stocks which are dropping with along with the market, and we want to look at those opportunities. So that's how BYDDY perform. So how do you want, if you want to get this thing, this is a small legend, as I explained. Legend, I know it's got a bit complicated, like what does this asterisk mean? So we are more comfortable if we have this kind of signal, strong within 5% of our buy point, strong buy area of TR indicator, strong relative strength compared to the broader market S&P 500, and a strong accumulation distribution. If you know that the people at the Wall Street, the market makers and the fund managers and investors, in generally they are accumulating share of BYDDY, then you are more confident, correct? So we want to see results in these areas instead of this area to go long, like ACN and others. So this is pretty much it. If you want to get the software, I will this update. All of my existing customers who bought the software in last 1 year, they will get it free of charge. Going forward, we'll have for the weekly commentary and stock analysis picks, we will have a subscription-based model as well. Now, just for today, if you want to buy today, use this discount code 20 off, and you'll get a $20 off of this price straight away. Go to this our website and go to the card and choose this, and you'll get the software along with the $20 off. These are our Facebook threads and YouTube pages. I will upload the recording of this today's session on the Facebook and sorry, on the YouTube. And we also have a dedicated WhatsApp group for our customers only. And if you're interested, please let me know. And if you want to the website address is still is like right here, analyzestocks.net. You can just go to the website and if you explore our products and services over there, and many of you have already done that. I know quite a few people visit our website for that weekly commentary as well, which is right now is free of charge for everyone. So this is our website, and the main software itself is right here. It's $119.99 and almost $120, and you'll get $20 off with that discount coupon just for today only. So I hope, did you cover NVIDIA? Sorry, joined little late. No, I did not cover NVIDIA. If you want, I can go back and take a look at NVIDIA. Definitely, no problem. NVIDIA, by the way, should be here. So to save time, we can just go right here. NVIDIA is a neutral buy, and the buy it has just started. Remember, NVIDIA is trading still below its 200-day moving average. So the TR indicator will never give you a kind of NVIDIA, strong signal if it is trading below that red line. You want to see NVIDIA's performance during last 3 years? Let's go. Tutorials, these features are new. So I am going to record a few tutorials on using this. Yes, for the software itself, there are some tutorials how to use it on our website and YouTube channel. Not the website, the YouTube channel. And for these features, I will have additional tutorial available. So this is NVIDIA's weekly chart. Still, you see, it's in the sell zone. It's not a strong sell zone. It has come back. Let's backtest this strategy. See how it performs on NVIDIA. So we're done with that. Go back here. So with the weekly strategy, last 3 years, it has only basically two signal. And $1 following this has become almost $4, 300% return following this strategy. Because the last position was closed at 8%. Remember, we set our stop loss at 8%. So that's the maximum loss we were taking at position. But before that, we had 489% on that 15% first partial profit only. Sorry, sorry, not this one. So the last position, there were two signals. First position, partial profit was 17.31%, and the remaining one gave us 489% return, and the last one gave us a minus 8% because NVIDIA was struggling, coming down. So I think that there's been a good result of this following this strategy. All you need to do, for example, in just 3 years, it just gave you two signals on weekly charts on NVIDIA. Not bad. What if we want to evaluate it further instead of weekly chart? On the daily chart we go. Obviously, we'll have more signals on the daily charts, more buy signals than the weekly chart because in the weekly price, the points move slowly after a week or so. On the daily chart, they move on everyday basis. So we'll have more buy points and more selling point and things like that. So that's the, you see, for the 3 years, there are many buy point and sell point for NVIDIA because it is kind of struggling. But even then, let's run the back test and see how it performs. Every time we run the back test, it first re-updates the chart. That's why it's taking some time. And then perform the back test. That's how the system works. So just wait for a while. There it goes. It has a back test and the results for the back test here at the below. So it's on the daily chart, we have slightly less gain. $1 became 3.58 in the sorry, on the daily chart. On the weekly, it became $1 became 3.99 or almost 4 because there were more loss incurring trades as well while going long. On the other hand, if you are into shorting business and you have something like AMD, then AMD performs very well on the downside as well. Although the back test does not perform, does not go on the shorting because we do not prefer shorting for many reasons. So let's say you are here, you fail this buy point, it gives you a signal here, a strong signal, and you just went short here. Still, you could have made a lot of money, $40 on this one position. Something which we do not prefer and we do not recommend, just for a comparison point of view. Okay, it's about time. If there are no more questions, then we'll call it a day. I hope you guys have liked it. And we did not have a high number of participants, but I will definitely, because Sunday, upload it on my YouTube channel very soon today. And you will have our weekly commentary and stuff as well today on our website. Anything else? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for your time, your participation, and interest. That keeps us motivated and in to invest our time and energy in this software. Hope you like it. The TR indicators is features, new features, and the back testing module. And see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.